What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the channel. I figured I should make a video for this. Me and Mariner Sir did our breakdown yesterday, went over the scenarios, but it is officially done. The Mariners have been eliminated from playoff contention. Detroit and Kansas City both win today. That does eliminate the Mariners from postseason play potentially. I don't think this comes as a shock to many people. I think for the last month or so, the writing's kind of been on the wall for this team. It was just a matter of when, as not opposed to if. And, listen, unlike last year, it wasn't a September collapse this year. In fact, the team's actually played pretty well in September, but they needed to be perfect. They put themselves in a spot where they had to be perfect this month, and they just weren't. Games in Texas on Sunday, I think, is a perfect example of that, where they were much better in September, but they almost had to not run the table, but still left too many wins out there. And the team is reaping what they sowed, right? This is nobody to blame but themselves for this, and disappointing for this team, but it is official that the Mariners are out of contention. I was kind of hoping, well, I was obviously hoping that Kansas City and Detroit lost, but I think it would have been kind of funny if Detroit had lost, that the Mariners season would have hung in the balance of obviously needing the Mariners to win and the Twins to lose a little bit, but needing the Chicago White Sox to sweep a series. It would have been very poetic for the season it's been for the Mariners if it would have come down to needing probably the worst team of all time to sweep a series to help get you in the playoffs. Would have been very Mariners, but unfortunately don't even get that opportunity, and the final three games will have no meaning to them. Kind of an odd spot because truthfully, we haven't been there in a while. Last year, it took until the second last game of the season. The year before, they were a playoff team. The year before that, it came down to the last game. And then you had 2020, which was kind of a, messy season. So it's been a while since we've kind of been going into a series with having nothing to play for. I will still have the post-game recaps up for them. I'm not quitting now. We've made it all the way. So I will have the final three games recapped, obviously. And we'll go over it and, see if the Mariners can finish with a nice little flurry of wins here to pad the record a little bit to finish a disappointing 2024. And that's certainly what it was. This team was in the playoffs 2 years ago, ready for them to take the next step, and it just hasn't happened. And I still do think there's a good core of players here that can do that, but they've got to step up and be better. There's better moves that need to be made. I'm keeping it very vague and broad right now. We'll really get into the offseason here starting next week, but and that was coming into the year. Then on top of it, you have a 10-game lead. And I agree with most people. They're kind of like, well, I think that had more to do with the Astros struggling. It certainly did. But I'm sorry, I think this Mariners team is good enough that they should not blow a 10-game lead. Again, I've said if you gave the White Sox a 10-game lead at that point, I would expect them to hold it longer than the Mariners did. So very disappointed to have a 10-game lead. And truthfully, to be at the point where I'm not even crushed by them being eliminated. I was just kind of expecting it to happen, just didn't know when. That's pretty awful to have a 10-game lead at one point, then be eliminated before, the last day of the season, essentially. So certainly some work to be done in the offseason. We'll dive into all that. I do want to thank each and every one of you for all your support this season. It has been a disappointing Mariners season, but it's still been a very rewarding season for me. My subscriber count has not doubled, but I think I entered the season at like 23 or 2,400. We're now up well past 4,200, closing in on 4,300 subscribers in my second full season doing these post-game recaps and trade breakdowns and signing breakdowns and all those things. So just thank you all. The comments, the likes, the subscribing, all that stuff. Thank you all so much for the support. Like I said, you guys have made a disappointing season better for me. And I hope I've been able to provide a little bit of, Mariners therapy for all of you. And that's really my goal, to kind of be a voice of the fans. I don't claim to know more about baseball than, anybody. I think I certainly know more than probably a few people, but it's not like I'm coming on here with some, oh yeah, that slider really, broke down there. And then this, hitter's hands are too high. I don't have all that stuff, but I hope I can kind of be a voice. And that's always what I want this channel to be. It's just, you sit there and you have these thoughts and, hey, there's someone that kind of, I get that. I get where Jay's coming from on that. That makes sense. So, and whether that's being optimistic or pessimistic, there's certainly times I've been excited what this team can do. I'll always believe there's a chance, but I also will try, do everything I can to not shy away from criticism when it's needed for a team. And this team deserves criticism. It absolutely does. Um, I was okay with how 22 ended with that playoff series loss, but my whole thing was taking the next step. I always equate to the 2012 Seahawks losing in Atlanta. That loss didn't bother me that much because I knew this team was close to taking the next step. They won the Super Bowl in 2013. It was a growing pain that was needed. The Mariners, I thought the same thing in 22 when they lost to Houston. This may be a good thing, a little growing pain for them. Take the next step, and they have not done that yet. So that is very, very disappointing. But again, thank you all again for the support and not going anywhere in the offseason. I'll break down the after-season press conference with Jerry, Dan Wilson, Justin Hollander. I'll do a video on that. Obviously, we'll go over some free agents that the Mariners could be interested in, some trade candidates, all that stuff. So there'll be a lot of videos up in the offseason. I'm hoping to get to spring training this year. I live 30 miles from Mariners spring training. I've not gone to a spring training game in 5 years. It's kind of one of those things like, I remember I was in Southern California once for an expo, and a buddy of mine that we worked for the same company picked me up. And we went back to his house real quick to get some stuff. I was like, man, you live like 3 minutes from Disneyland. That's cool. He's like, oh, yeah, I guess I do. I forgot about that. And I'm kind of the same way with spring training. Everyone's like, oh, man, you must go to every spring training game. I'm like, oh yeah, they are out here. I forgot about that. So it's kind of one of those things when you're in it, it's not as cool and amazing as when you're not in it, I guess. So I don't know how to really say that, but I will definitely be getting to some spring training games. So if you guys are there, see me, stop by, say hi, and we'll have a brewski and talk ball. I do want to, shout out channel members a little bit here and talk a little about channel memberships. I just want to let the members know. Think about becoming a channel member if you want. I'm in the middle of doing my top 10 baseball movies of all time. Starting next week, I will have a lot of time to do that, so there'll be one out each day. I've done numbers 10 through 8 so far, so 7 through 1 should be done in the next couple weeks here. I'm also going to start doing like a NFL picks. I'm thinking of maybe just having that for members. I'm really not wanting to do a lot of NFL content. People have asked me about that. Seahawks recaps, I did them last year. I'm not going to do Seahawks recaps. That doesn't mean they won't happen. I may just get the itch to talk some Hawks. And of course, Seahawks are 3-0, so they're going to be great. Being easy to talk about the Seahawks right now. So I'm talking about the Mariners. But I'm just kind of sitting back and enjoying football this year. One thing that does become tough with having a channel like this is, watching these games and going, okay, I got to remember that, got to remember this, I want to talk about that. And it can be draining, especially with a team like the Mariners, with how frustrating they were. And it's nothing to do with anybody else. It's the team itself was draining. So there's a lot of great Hawks content creators out there. So my focus is really just going to be on the Mariners. Love my Seahawks. I may bandwagon some videos that they really start, when they're 3-0, but like, let's say they're win this week to beat the 49ers in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll have to talk about them a little bit because it'll just be too exciting not to. But right now, no Seahawks post-game recaps. It's just, I need a little break. And Sundays, I spend a lot of time with family, a lot of my close friends. I've told you guys, the drinks are flowing. So I'm just not in the right space to do a post-game recap sometimes on Sundays, and that's why my other Mariners ones have been a little bit later too as well. So right now, no plan for that. I may do a weekly pick show. Like I said, it may be members, it may not be, but I want to start doing more stuff for channel members. So the top 10 baseball videos and maybe my football picks, just a weekly show, maybe a channel member thing as well. So think about becoming a channel member. Definitely I'll have actually more time to do things in the off season. Because obviously, listen, I don't want to not have everybody in on the content and stuff for the Mariners. So that's the goal there. So think about becoming a channel member. And like I said, I will definitely have the recap up for the last 3 games. Can't stop now, but definitely disappointing end to the season for the Mariners. And now it's just about playing out the string. And we'll see. I'd love to see Mitch Haniger get some at-bats here, give him a nice farewell. I know he's probably going to pick up his player option, but I don't see any way you can roster him in 2025. So they're going to have to figure something out there. But let Mitch Haniger play. I would truthfully bring up Ryan Bliss, I don't know, put someone on the injured list and let him play a few games. I'd hope Emerson Hancock makes another start just to see. and go from there for the final 3 games. So we'll see if there's anything interesting to talk about, but I will definitely have those recaps up. But I just want to make this video. Felt like I had to. Couldn't just go into the recap tomorrow without talking about the fact that the Mariners are eliminated. But the big thing is a thank you to every single one of you for helping make this channel the success it is. I was blown away when I had 500 subscribers, and to have over 4,000, closing in on 4,500, is truly a blessing, and I'm blown away by the support from every single one of you. So I hope you're enjoying these. I hope this is kind of like, your go-to after a game. And I understand the views may not be great the next 3 days. That's okay. I get it. I get people that have checked out. Totally get it. It's going to be hard for me to even watch the games the next 3 days and not put on a movie or something like that. But I'll do it for you guys. So appreciate you all. Thank you again. Mariners eliminated. A little bit of a channel update. All sorts of things here. Take care. And as always, oh God, go Mariners. Peace.